Hello and welcome to our podcast episode number 34, an adventure through an underground world on the brink of destruction. I'm Timothy and I am here with my dear friend Thomas. Tonight we're going to discuss a film called City of Ember. Be aware, spoilers ahead. City of Ember is a 2008 American science fantasy adventure film about an underground city called Ember that faces disaster when its generator starts to fail. And two young people named Dune Harrow and Lena Mayfleet discover the secrets of their world and attempt to escape before it's too late. First of all, I did not enjoy the film, even though adventure is one of my favorite genres. And Tom, did you like City of Ember?
Well, Tim, I have to say that while City of Ember wasn't necessarily my favorite film, I did find it quite enjoyable. The concept of an underground city facing disaster was intriguing and held my interest throughout the movie. As for the characters, I thought Lena and Dune made for a compelling duo. With their respective roles in uncovering the secrets of Ember's past, Bill Murray's portrayal of the villainous Mayor Cole was also quite entertaining. It was nice to see him play against type for once. However, where I think City of Ember could have improved was in its pacing and action sequences. While there were moments that held tension well enough, overall it felt like something was lacking in terms of adventure and excitement. The film relied heavily on dialogue and exposition to move the story forward, which made some parts feel rather slow at times. Now, Timothy, what did you think about City of Ember? Did you find any redeeming qualities, or were there aspects that particularly disappointed you?
Well, Tom, I have to say that while I didn't dislike City of Ember as much as you might think, it certainly wasn't a movie that blew me away. The concept of an underground city on the brink of destruction is interesting and could have been explored further, but unfortunately, the film fell flat for me in several areas. Firstly, I found the characters to be rather one-dimensional and underdeveloped.
Lena was your
typical plucky protagonist, while Dune came across as somewhat of a generic sidekick. The villainous Mayor Cole, played by Bill Murray, had potential, but wasn't utilized effectively enough, in my opinion. As for the plot itself, it felt like there were too many threads left unexplored or underdeveloped. For example, I would have liked to see more about how Ember came into existence and why.
Mm-hmm.
It was designed as a temporary shelter rather than a permanent home. Additionally, I felt that some of the plot points were predictable and didn't provide enough surprises or twists to keep me fully engaged throughout the film.
Tim, I have to say I respectfully disagree with you on several points. Firstly, while it is true that City of Ember isn't without its flaws, I felt like the characters were well suited for their roles in this particular story. Lena was indeed plucky and determined, but also showed vulnerability when faced with danger or uncertainty. Dune, on the other hand, demonstrated loyalty and resourcefulness as he supported her throughout their journey. As for Mayor Cole's characterization, I thought Bill Murray brought an element of unsettling charm to his portrayal, which made him all the more menacing. It was fascinating to watch this seemingly benevolent leader reveal himself as a ruthless opportunist when confronted with the impending doom of Ember. Now, regarding plot development and twists, I'd argue that City of Ember offers enough surprises along the way without resorting to over-the-top revelations or contrived twists for shock value. The discovery of the box containing instructions for escape was certainly unexpected but felt organic within the context of the story. Likewise, finding out about Mayor Cole's true intentions with regard to food rationing added an extra layer of tension and moral complexity to the narrative. While I do agree that some threads could have been explored further or developed differently, overall, I found City of Ember to be a solid entry into the genre of dystopian adventure film.
Well, Tom, I do have to admit that there is one interesting piece of trivia related to City of Ember that I found quite fascinating. It turns out that the film was inspired by a real-life event from World War II when residents of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, built an underground fallout shelter in response to the threat of nuclear attack. The designers of the shelter even went so far as to include features like ventilation systems and food storage areas similar to those seen in City of Ember's underground city. This connection between fiction and a history adds an extra layer of intrigue for me, particularly given the current geopolitical climate with nations around the world once again grappling with issues related to nuclear proliferation.
That's a fascinating bit of trivia, Timothy. It just goes to show how timeless themes like survival and self-preservation can be translated into different forms of media over time. And speaking of which, I think one of the things that City of Ember does well is presenting these themes in a way that appeals to audiences across generations. The film's mix of adventure, mystery, and sci-fi elements makes it accessible for both adults and younger viewers alike who might not necessarily be familiar with the historical context behind its inspiration. Moreover, I think the movie serves as an important reminder about the importance of critical thinking and questioning authority, even in seemingly benign situations like those depicted within Ember's walls.
Well said, Tom. And now that we've discussed some interesting trivia and aspects of City of Ember, I think it's time for us to move on to our next film discussion. So what have you been watching lately? Any recommendations for our viewers who might be interested in similar films or just want something new to watch?
Actually, Tim, I was recently rewatching the Matrix trilogy and found myself quite impressed by how well the themes of that series hold up even today. It got me thinking about other sci-fi adventure films from the late 90s and early 2000s that might have been overlooked or forgotten, but still offer some compelling storytelling and visual. One such film is Dark City, a 1998 neo-noir science fiction mystery directed by Alex Proyas and starring Rufus Sewell, Jennifer Connelly, William Hurt, Kiefer Sutherland, and Richard O'Brien. The story follows a man who discovers he has been living in a world where people's identities are constantly altered by mysterious beings known as the Strangers for their own amusement or experimentation. If you're looking for something with a similar blend of action, mystery, and philosophical underpinnings to City of Ember, but perhaps with a bit more edge to it, Dark City might just be worth checking out.
Well, Tom, I have to say that while Dark City isn't necessarily my cup of tea when it comes to science fiction films, it certainly sounds like an intriguing premise with a unique blend of genres and themes. I think one of the reasons why Dark City might appeal more to some viewers is its darker tone and the exploration of deeper philosophical questions about the nature of reality and identity. The novel City of Ember by Jean Dupreau, on the other hand, takes a much lighter approach to these themes. It's a children's book that focuses more on adventure, survival, and discovery rather than the existential questions posed by films like Dark City or the Matrix trilogy. While there are some similarities between the novel and the film adaptation in terms of setting and plot points, they ultimately serve different audiences and purpose. In conclusion, if you're looking for a more thought-provoking science fiction adventure with elements of neo-noir mystery, Dark City might be worth checking out. However, if you prefer your stories to have a stronger focus on character development and emotional resonance within an engaging underground world setting, then the film adaptation of City of Ember might still hold some appeal despite its flaws.
Excellent points, Timothy. And I couldn't agree more about the importance of understanding one's audience when adapting a work from one medium to another. It just goes to show how versatile a good story can be in capturing people's imaginations across various platforms and genres. Now let me ask you this. Given your extensive knowledge of film history and your appreciation for both adventure movies and sci-fi classics, is there any particular classic movie or television series that you would recommend to our viewers who might be interested in exploring the genre further?
Well, Tom, if I had to pick just one recommendation from my personal list of favorites, it would have to be Forbidden Planet. Released in AM 1956 and directed by Fred M.E. Wilcox, this science fiction film is often credited as being the first to draw heavily on the ideas of psychoanalysis and mythology to explore complex themes within its storyline. The movie stars Walter Pidgeon, Anne Francis, and Leslie Nielsen in a tale set aboard an interstellar spaceship where crew members are investigating the remains of a long-dead civilization on a distant planet called Altair 4th. Not only does Forbidden Planet offer stunning special effects for its time, but it also features an intriguing blend of science fiction and horror elements that make it truly stand out among other films in the genre. Additionally, the film's exploration of themes like humanity's relationship with technology and the subconscious mind continue to resonate with audiences today. So if you're looking for a classic adventure movie that offers more than just action and thrills, but also thought-provoking ideas and imaginative storytelling, Forbidden Planet might be worth checking out.
Well said, Timothy. And now let's get back to our discussion of City of Ember. One aspect that I found particularly interesting was the cast and their portrayal of their characters. Saoirse Ronan, who played Lena Mayfleet, delivered a captivating performance as the determined young heroine. Her character's journey from innocence to leadership is both compelling and believable thanks in part to her expressive acting skills. Bill Murray, on the other hand, brought his signature charm and subtle menace to his role as Mayor Cole. It was fascinating to watch him switch between being a seemingly benevolent leader and an unscrupulous opportunist as the plot unfolded.
Indeed, Tom, I have to say that I was quite impressed by Saoirse Ronan's portrayal of Lena Mayfleet in particular. She managed to convey both vulnerability and strength throughout the film, making her character's journey all the more engaging and relatable. Bill Murray's performance as Mayor Cole was also quite chilling at times. I found myself wondering how someone who seemed so affable on the surface could harbor such sinister intentions beneath it all.
And let's not forget about Harry Treadaway, who played Dune Harrow, Lena's loyal and resourceful sidekick. His character served as an excellent foil to Lena's plucky heroine archetype. While she was more outspoken and proactive in their quest for survival, Dune provided much-needed support and guidance when things got tough. Their relationship felt genuine and well-developed throughout the film, which added an extra layer of depth to the story as a whole.
Absolutely. I thought Harry Treadaway did a great job of bringing Dune Harrow to life on screen. He had this understated charm that made you root for him from the very beginning. His character's loyalty and dedication to Lena's cause were admirable, especially given the dangerous circumstances they found themselves in.
So, would you say then that despite its flaws or shortcomings, City of Ember still manages to deliver an engaging and well-acted adventure story with a compelling cast of characters? Or do you think there were too many issues with the film's pacing, plot development, etc., for it to be truly successful in this regard?
That's a tricky question, Tom. Well, I do have my reservations about City of Ember, particularly regarding its pacing and some aspects of its storytelling. I still found myself engaged with the characters and their journey throughout the film. I think part of what kept me invested was the performances by Saoirse Ronan, Harry Treadaway, and Bill Murray, who brought a great deal of depth and nuance to their roles despite some limitations in the script. In that sense, yes, I would say that City of Ember does deliver an engaging adventure story with strong characters at its core. However, whether or not this is enough for audiences to overlook its flaws may vary from person to person.
Interesting point, Timothy. I can't help but wonder if there are any other films or TV series that have been inspired by City of Ember and its themes of survival, adventure, and self-discovery in the face of adversity. One such example might be the popular animated series The Last Airbender, which aired on Nickelodeon from 2005 to 2008. While it's set in a completely different world with its own unique mythology, there are some interesting parallels between City of Ember and The Last Airbender that can be drawn. Both stories feature young protagonists who find themselves thrust into extraordinary circumstances and must embark on dangerous journeys to save their respective societies from impending doom. In The Last Airbender, Aang, the last surviving airbender, discovers his destiny to end the century-long war between the four nations: Water Tribe, Earth Kingdom, Fire Nation, and Air Nomads. Similarly, in City of Ember, Lena Mayfleet learns of her role in uncovering an ancient message that could potentially save her underground city from destruction. Additionally, both stories explore themes of identity, belonging, and the importance of understanding one's history and culture for a brighter future. In The Last Airbender, this is exemplified through Aang's struggle to reconcile his duties as the Avatar with his desire to avoid conflict and violence. Meanwhile, in City of Ember, Lina grapples with her newfound leadership responsibilities while also navigating relationships with family members who have different ideas about how best to face their challenges. Another interesting connection between these two works is their use of color. Palettes to evoke specific moods or emotions throughout each series film. For example, City of Ember's predominantly earthy tones and warm lighting contribute to an overall sense of nostalgia and longing for a better past or future, whereas The Last Airbender employs a more vibrant color palette featuring bright hues like blue, green, orange, and white grayscale to visually distinguish between nations and reflect their unique characteristics. In conclusion, while City of Ember might not have been as influential or well known as some other films or TV series within the genre of adventure stories for young adults, it's fascinating to see how its themes and storytelling elements continue to inspire creators even today. And who knows, perhaps one day there will be a film or television adaptation that successfully captures all the magic and wonder that made City of Ember such an enduring classic in its own right.
Well, Tom, as we conclude our discussion of City of Ember, I think it's safe to say that while the film might not have been perfect in terms of pacing or plot development, there was still a lot to appreciate about its themes, characters, and overall aesthetic. It's a story that manages to capture both the wonder and the struggles of growing up while also exploring deeper ideas about survival, self-discovery, and the importance of preserving knowledge for future generations.
Absolutely, Timothy. And I think that's what makes City of Ember such a compelling film. It manages to strike a balance between entertaining its audience with an engaging adventure story, while also presenting them with some thought-provoking questions about our own world and society. It really is a testament to the power of storytelling in general, and I, for one, am grateful that we had this opportunity to discuss it at length today.
Agreed, Tom. Before we sign off, let me just remind our viewers that if you enjoyed this discussion or found any of our insights helpful, please don't hesitate to leave a comment below telling us what you thought about City of Ember. And while you're at it, feel free to suggest other films or television series that we could discuss in future episodes. Also, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button so that we can continue bringing you engaging content like this one.
Thank you, Tim. And thank you to all of our viewers for joining us on this adventure through City of Ember. We hope you enjoyed the discussion as much as we did, and that it has inspired you to explore similar themes or storylines in your own lives. Until next time, keep thinking critically about the world around you, embrace your curiosity, and never stop seeking out new experiences. Take care, everyone.